Midoriya's journey begins with a defining moment in his childhood when he faced discrimination for being quirkless in a world where having a special power was the norm. Despite this setback, he never gave up on his dream of becoming a hero, and it is this unrelenting spirit that drives him to pursue his goal with unwavering determination. As he grows older, Midoriya begins to understand the complexities of the superhuman society, where not all quirks are created equal and there are those who misuse their powers for personal gain. Despite the challenges he faces, Midoriya remains undeterred and continues to work tirelessly to hone his skills and improve his abilities, so he can one day become a hero that can protect the people and make the world a better place. His journey is not without obstacles, as he faces a host of powerful villains who push him to the brink of defeat and test the limits of his resolve. But despite the odds, Midoriya rises to the challenge, and through his battles, he learns the true meaning of heroism and what it takes to be a hero that inspires others. Through his struggles, Midoriya grows as a person and as a hero, and as he evolves, he begins to earn the respect and admiration of those around him, who come to recognize the potential he possesses. Midoriya's journey is a testament to the power of perseverance and the importance of never giving up on one's dreams, no matter how insurmountable the obstacles may seem. Midoriya is clearly devastated by the doctor's news, and it is clear that this has been a long-standing source of frustration and disappointment for him. As he and his mother leave the doctor's office, Midoriya's mind is filled with conflicting emotions. On one hand, he feels crushed that his dream of becoming a hero like All Might might never be a reality. On the other hand, he is filled with determination to prove the doctor wrong and to show that he can still become a hero despite not having a quirk. As Midoriya makes his way home, he tries to come to terms with his new reality. He reflects on all of the times that he has been teased and bullied for his lack of a quirk and wonders what his future will be like without one. Despite these negative thoughts, Midoriya is also filled with a sense of purpose. He decides that he will study as much as he can about heroes and quirks and will work hard to become the best hero he can be, even if he doesn't have a quirk. Midoriya spends the next few months studying and observing the heroes around him, learning everything he can about the world of heroes and quirks. His determination and hard work pay off, and he is eventually accepted into UA High School, one of the top hero schools in the country. Despite the challenges he faces, Midoriya is determined to make the most of this opportunity and to become the hero he has always dreamed of becoming. Throughout his journey, Midoriya encounters many obstacles, including the disdain of Bakugo and the skepticism of his classmates. However, he perseveres and continues to work hard, honing his skills and becoming one of the top students at UA despite the setbacks. Midoriya never loses sight of his goal of becoming a hero and continues to strive towards that dream, no matter what. As the boys continue to talk, the sludge villain emerges from the alley, looking for its next target. The boys are startled by the appearance of the villain and start to back away. Suddenly, a figure jumps down from the roof of the building and lands in front of the boys. It's Midoriya, determined to protect those around him. Even without a quirk, the sludge villain sees Midoriya and prepares to attack. But Midoriya doesn't back down. He charges forward, using his quick reflexes and intelligence to dodge the villain's attacks. Midoriya tries to immobilize the villain, but his attacks have no effect. Just as the villain is about to strike, a bright light fills the alley and a figure descends from the sky. It's All Might, back in his full form and ready to take down the sludge villain. With a single punch, All Might sends the villain flying and captures it in a bottle. The boys cheer in amazement as All Might turns to Midoriya. Impressed by his bravery, Midoriya smiles, feeling proud of himself for standing up to the villain. Even without a quirk, All Might pats him on the back and says, "You don't need a quirk to be a hero. Young man, you have heart, bravery, and a will to protect others. That's what makes a true hero." With those words, Midoriya is inspired to continue on his journey to become a hero. Even without a quirk, Midoriya was walking down the streets while reading his notebook. He was thinking about his dream of becoming a hero, but he knew it was unattainable without a quirk. Suddenly, an explosion shook the area, causing Midoriya to look up from his book. He realized that the fight from earlier was still going on and headed over to the crowd to check it out. As he arrived, he saw the sludge villain, who had attacked him earlier, strangling Bakugo. Midoriya realized that it was his fault that All Might had wasted his energy on him and that he was the reason the other heroes couldn't stop the monster. He felt helpless and was sure that help would show up soon. However, Midoriya couldn't stand by and do nothing. He remembered his own notes and decided to act. He ran toward the sludge villain and threw his backpack at him. His books flew out and hit the villain in the face, freeing Bakugo. Midoriya then began clawing at the sludge villain's body, trying to save Bakugo. Bakugo was surprised to see Midoriya and asked him why he was there. Midoriya replied that he didn't know, but his legs just started moving on their own. The sludge villain covered Bakugo's mouth again, and Midoriya continued to fight, determined to save his friend. Despite the danger, he was willing to risk everything to become the hero he always dreamed of being. Midoriya's mind was still in shock as All Might explained the concept of his quirk being passed on. He couldn't believe it, that he, a quirkless boy, could actually become a hero like his idol. The idea was almost too good to be true. As he stood there, All Might's words echoed in his mind. The power to transfer power. That is the quirk I inherited. Midoriya was in awe of the idea, but he knew he couldn't turn down such a great opportunity. NGH. I'll do it, Midoriya declared, tears streaming down his face. All Might smiled at his reply. An immediate reply. That's what I thought you'd say. Quote, but receiving All Might's power was not an easy task. Midoriya found himself struggling to pull a fridge with All Might squatting on top of it. At Dagoba Municipal Beach Park. 2 days later, despite his determination, he just couldn't seem to get the job done. But All Might was there to help. You must control your power with your own hands. This will be the first and most important step in becoming a hero. All Might encouraged him, as he began to guide Midoriya through the process of mastering his newfound power. Midoriya was determined to become a hero, and with All Might's guidance and support, he was well on his way to achieving his dream. Midoriya had always been a diligent student. However, his encounter with the villain had left a deep impact on him and he struggled to focus in class. He found himself constantly thinking about his goal of becoming a hero and making up for his past mistakes. He wrote a plan in his notebook, determined to use every minute of his time to reach his goal. Despite the intense physical training at the beach park and All Might's guidance, Midoriya found himself overworking and losing energy. He was determined to become a hero like All Might, who saved people with a fearless smile. All Might recognized Midoriya's hard work and passion, and adjusted his training plan to ensure that he would make it to the entrance exam in time. On the day of the entrance exam, All Might found Midoriya at the beach park, cleaning up the area beyond what he had asked. Midoriya was exhausted but he was determined to give it his all. He screamed and let out all his energy, putting everything he had into his final efforts. All Might was in awe of Midoriya's dedication and praised him for his hard work. Finally, after all the training and preparation, it was time for the entrance exam. Midoriya was ready, and with All Might by his side, he was determined to do his best and take one step closer to becoming a hero. Midoriya and All Might continued their training on the beach. They worked on improving Midoriya's control over One for All, which he had inherited from All Might. All Might emphasized that it was a gradual process and that Midoriya wouldn't be able to master it right away. But with enough training, Midoriya would be able to control the output of his quirk and make it his own. However, their training session was interrupted by the arrival of 2 fans who recognized All Might. All Might quickly became nervous and instructed Midoriya to run. The 2 of them fled the scene, with All Might leading the way. As they ran, All Might thought about the journey that lay ahead for Midoriya. He realized that the power he had passed on to Midoriya was still a small flame. But with time and training, it would grow into a raging inferno. He had faith in Midoriya and was confident that the young hero in training would be able to wield One for All to its fullest potential. Despite the challenges ahead, Midoriya was excited about the future. He knew that with All Might's guidance and support, he would be able to overcome any obstacle and become the greatest hero of them all. Midoriya was filled with dread at the thought of being expelled from UA High School. the school that he had dreamed of attending since he was a child. He had always admired the great heroes who had come out of UA and had worked tirelessly to get here. But now that he was finally here, he was faced with the very real possibility of being expelled. Midoriya felt a hand on his shoulder and turned to see Uraraka looking at him with concern. "Don't worry, Midoriya," she said. "We'll all help each other get through this." Midoriya smiled gratefully at Uraraka. He was grateful for her encouragement and support, but he couldn't help but think that he was going to need a lot more than just encouragement and support if he was going to survive the grueling tests that lay ahead. Aizawa called the students to attention and began the first physical test. Midoriya took a deep breath and stepped up to the starting line. He knew that this was going to be a tough road, but he was determined to do whatever it took to make it to the finish line and prove to Aizawa and the rest of the world that he was a hero worthy of UA. The tests were grueling, but Midoriya pushed himself harder and harder, determined to prove himself and not let his classmates down. With each test, he grew stronger and more confident, and by the end of the day, he had earned a place in the top half of his class. Midoriya was exhausted, but he was also filled with a sense of pride and accomplishment. He had faced his fears and had risen to the challenge. He was now one step closer to becoming the hero he had always dreamed of becoming. The next day, Midoriya and his classmates began their hero training in earnest. Aizawa pushed them hard, but he also taught them valuable lessons about what it meant to be a hero. Midoriya learned about sacrifice, about putting others before himself, and about what it meant to be truly heroic. And as the years passed, Midoriya grew stronger and more skilled, until finally, he was ready to face the world as a full-fledged hero. He had proven himself to Aizawa, to his classmates, and most importantly, to himself, and he was proud to call UA High School his alma mater.